Listen closely, because something is shifting in the atmosphere around you, and your spirit has already felt the tremor of it. You didn't stumble into this message. You didn't click by accident. You were pulled here, drawn here, by a force that has been watching over you, guiding you, and preparing you for a moment you didn't even realize was coming. And that moment is now. There is a reason your heart has been restless. There is a reason you felt the pressure increase, the tension rising, the inner stirring you couldn't explain. It wasn't anxiety. It wasn't imagination. It was your spirit rising. Something inside you has been waking up, strengthening, stretching, expanding. And heaven wants you to understand why. You have been walking through a season where everything felt heavier than usual. Your emotions, your responsibilities, your battles, your internal warfare. It almost felt like your strength was leaking, like your energy was draining, like you were running, but not advancing. And yet, something deeper was happening. Something sacred, something powerful. Even when you felt weakest, something in your spirit refused to break. Even when you felt tired, something in you would not quit. Even when you wanted silence, heaven kept whispering, "Keep going, keep standing, keep believing." Because a rising is happening within you. The world around you might not see it yet. The people connected to you might not recognize it yet. But heaven sees it. God sees it. And the spiritual realm has been responding to the shift inside you. You are stepping into a moment where your spirit is being strengthened, elevated, awakened, and fortified in ways that will shock even you. You have been tested. You have been stretched. You have been pressed on every side. But pressure is the birthplace of power. And God did not allow that pressure to break you. He allowed it to build you. There is something coming. Something divine, something appointed, and heaven is preparing you to carry it. This is why you've been sensing change, transition momentum without understanding the full picture. This is why doors started shaking. This is why your discernment sharpened. This is why your spirit has been rising even when your emotions were fighting to stay down. Because God is strengthening you right now, not tomorrow. Not someday, not eventually, now. And before this message ends, you will understand exactly what is rising in you and what God is preparing you to walk into. And as this rising unfolds within you, there is something you need to understand. Something heaven has been waiting for the right moment to reveal. The strength you feel returning, the clarity, pushing through the fog, the sudden awareness, sharpening your spirit. This is not random. This is not self-generated. This is not just inner motivation or emotional resilience. This is God moving. You are not elevating yourself. You are not awakening yourself. You are not restoring yourself. God is the one lifting you. There has been a divine hand on your life, steady and intentional, even when you couldn't feel it. And right now that hand is pushing you upward, pulling you out of what tried to drown you, raising you above what once held you down. Heaven has initiated something in you, something sacred, something ancient, something written into your destiny long before you took your first breath. This message comes from that place. Not from coincidence, not from luck, not from emotion, but from divine intention. What you're hearing right now is a confirmation of what your spirit already sensed. God has begun strengthening you for a purpose that is rising on the horizon. There are moments in life when God whispers gently, but there are also moments when He speaks with a fire that cannot be ignored. A fire that burns away doubt, heaviness, confusion, and spiritual fatigue. This is one of those moments. Heaven is not speaking softly to you today. Heaven is speaking with authority, urgency, and clarity. Because what's coming requires a stronger version of you, a version equipped, fortified, and spiritually enlarged. God is saying, I am the one empowering your spirit. I am the one renewing your strength. I am the one preparing you for what you cannot see yet. You may have felt isolated recently, but it wasn't abandonment, it was positioning. You may have felt the silence, but it wasn't neglect, it was preparation. You may have felt the stretching, but it wasn't punishment, it was strengthening. Heaven has been working behind the scenes, rearranging pieces you didn't even know were connected, aligning paths you didn't realize were part of your story, and building resilience you didn't know you needed. Everything you've endured, everything you've overcome, everything that attempted to break you, all of it has been part of the divine construction of the person you're becoming. And now God is revealing His intention clearly. You are being strengthened because something powerful is coming toward you, and something powerful is rising within you. This message is not simply encouragement, it is impartation. It is not simply information, it is activation. It is not simply a reminder, it is a calling forth. Your spirit is rising because heaven has declared, it is time. And as we continue, you will understand why God is moving with such precision and what this rising is preparing you to receive. And now that your spirit is awake enough to receive it, the revelation begins to unfold. What has been rising in you is not merely strength. It is a prophetic shift. Heaven has initiated a turning point, a divine acceleration, a spiritual elevation that will alter the course of your journey. Something you have been praying for, waiting for, wrestling with in silence, is approaching its release. But before it arrives in the natural, it must be awakened in the spiritual. That awakening has already begun. You've been sensing it even without understanding the full picture. The random moments of sudden clarity, the bursts of energy after long stretches of exhaustion, the unexpected peace in the middle of mental storms, the unexplainable hope that keeps flickering inside you. These were not emotional swings. These were indicators of movement in the unseen realm. God has been breathing on your spirit, igniting what had been dormant, stirring what had been silent, awakening what had been waiting for its appointed time. And here is the prophecy: you are entering a season where everything that once weakened you will lose its power, and everything that once intimidated you will bow to the strength God is placing within you. What tried to drain you will release you. What tried to confuse you will expose itself. What tried to break you will become the evidence of your rising. Your spirit is being lifted because you are being prepared for a divine assignment, a new dimension, a higher terrain that requires a reinforced foundation. This is why the warfare intensified. This is why old emotions resurfaced. This is why familiar battles returned not to defeat you, but to show you how much stronger you've become. The prophecy speaks of transition, but not the kind you're used to. This is not a gentle shift. This is not a subtle nudge. This is a divine upheaval, a holy rearranging of the landscape of your life. God is moving you out of environments that limited you, out of cycles that drained you, out of patterns that diluted your voice, out of connections that weakened your confidence, out of mindsets that kept you small. You may not see all of this with your natural eyes yet, but your spirit has already stepped into it. That's why your discernment sharpened. That's why your intuition grew louder. That's why you've been feeling both anticipation and discomfort at the same time. Because your spirit has traveled ahead of your circumstances and your life is catching up to the shift. This rising is not about ego, not about status, not about recognition. It is about alignment. Heaven is aligning you with the version of yourself you were always meant to become. The stronger you, the wiser you, the clearer you, the spiritually fortified you, the untouchable, unshakable, unapologetic, purpose-driven you. You are being elevated internally before you are elevated externally. The rising of your spirit is the first indicator. The second indicator is this: God is beginning to remove everything that has drained your strength. People who were attached to your weakness will fall away as your spirit rises. Situations that fed on your doubt will lose access as your clarity returns. Opportunities that were built on your insecurity will collapse as your confidence strengthens. This prophecy is not abstract. It is personal. It is specific. It is targeted to your current moment. Heaven is declaring that the spiritual weight you once struggled to carry is being lifted, and the mantle you once thought was too heavy is being fitted to your shoulders with divine strength. God is not just strengthening you, He is repositioning you. Not just awakening you, He is launching you. Not just encouraging you, He is commissioning you. And with this rising comes a shift in authority. You are going to notice that the things that used to overwhelm you no longer have the same grip. Not because they disappeared, but because you changed. Your spirit is being built to withstand storms, without collapsing to face warfare, without trembling to discern deception, without confusion, and to walk forward without hesitation. Something powerful is coming, something heaven has prepared for you. But before it manifests, God is establishing the strength within you to sustain it. This rising is your confirmation, your preparation, and your activation. And in the next part of this message, you will understand the deep spiritual meaning behind this rising and why God chose this moment in your life to initiate it. And now that the prophecy has been spoken, we need to go deeper, far deeper, into the spiritual meaning behind this rising that is taking place within you. Because what you're experiencing is not random emotional or psychological. It is spiritual architecture. It is divine engineering. It is heaven restructuring the chambers of your inner world so that you can hold what your destiny is about to place in your hands. To understand this rising, you must first understand this truth. Every elevation in the natural realm begins with a strengthening in the spiritual realm. God never promotes the flesh, He promotes the spirit. And before anything shifts around, something must shift within you. This is why your strength has been returning before your circumstances have changed. This is why your clarity has been rising before your breakthrough has arrived. This is why your spirit has awakened, even though your environment still looks the same. God strengthens the vessel before He releases the assignment. Think of a seed. Before it breaks the soil and reaches the sunlight, it goes through a violent transformation beneath the ground. Cracking, pressing, expanding, breaking open in darkness. Everything happening beneath the surface is essential for the bloom that will come later. The soil is tight, restrictive, and heavy, but it is also protective, purposeful, and necessary. This has been your hidden season. You have been buried, but not buried to die. You were buried to grow. You were hidden to be strengthened. You were isolated to be prepared. You were pressed so your spirit could expand. This rising you feel is the moment the seed breaks the surface. This is why you feel it so intensely. This is why you feel both discomfort and anticipation. This is why you feel like you're being pulled upward by something you cannot see. Because your roots have finally taken hold. Your foundation has been secured. Your strength has reached its capacity to hold what God is about to release. You are not rising out of nowhere. You are rising because heaven has declared it is time. Another layer of meaning behind this rising is identity. God is restoring who you truly are. Not the version shaped by trauma, not the version sculpted by survival, not the version forced by circumstances, not the version conditioned by rejection, disappointment, or fear. Your spirit has been rising because your original identity, The one heaven wrote, not the one life carved, has been reactivated. You are remembering who you are spiritually. You are remembering what you carry. You are remembering the authority, the sensitivity, the intuition, the discernment that was always inside you, but became buried under years of battles. God is peeling back the layers that life placed on your spirit, so the real you can emerge. This rising is also about alignment with divine timing. There are moments heaven accelerates and moments heaven holds back. Not to punish you, but to synchronize your steps with a season that has been divinely appointed. There are doors that only open when your spirit is strong enough to walk through them without collapsing. There are opportunities that only manifest when your discernment is sharp enough to recognize them. There are assignments that only activate when your character has matured enough to sustain them. Your rising is not late. Your strength is not delayed. Your elevation is not behind schedule. You are right on time. This moment, this strengthening, is happening exactly when it was meant to. And though you may have felt like you were falling behind, heaven sees you as perfectly aligned with what comes next. There is also a deeper meaning connected to spiritual warfare. The attacks you've endured, the emotional pressure, the mental heaviness, the sudden discouragement, the moments of inner chaos were not signs of weakness. They were signs of spiritual sensitivity. You felt the pressure because something in the spiritual realm recognized your rising long before you did. Hell always senses your elevation before you fully step into it. The warfare intensified because your spirit was climbing. The heaviness increased because your authority was expanding. The resistance grew because your influence was being established. But the fact that you're still here listening, rising, even after all of it, proves that you are no longer who you were in the last season. You have outgrown the tactics that once controlled you. You have matured beyond the attacks that once drained you. You have been strengthened in the secret places while no one was watching. This rising has also been about capacity. God is enlarging your spiritual lungs so you can breathe in deeper revelation. God is stretching your inner strength so you can carry heavier blessings. God is expanding your discernment so you can navigate more complex spiritual terrain. God is fortifying your soul so you can withstand greater influence without losing yourself. Everything God gives requires strength to sustain. And this rising is heaven's announcement that you now carry the strength required for what's coming. Finally, the deeper meaning behind this rising is preparation for manifestation. Something that has been delayed is about to be delivered. Something that has been held back is about to be released. Something your heart has longed for is nearing fulfillment. But before it reaches your hands, God ensures your spirit is strong enough to hold it. And that strengthening is happening right now. In the next part, you will hear the signs, the confirmations that this rising is already taking place in your life. And now that the deeper meaning has been revealed, you're going to start noticing the signs, the unmistakable confirmations that this rising in your spirit is not imagined, not coincidental, not emotional, but divine. Heaven always leaves fingerprints. When God strengthens you, the evidence begins to show up in your daily life in ways you can feel, sense, and even physically experience. Let's unfold these signs because some of them have already begun appearing around you. Sign 1. Your sensitivity has sharpened. You've been noticing things you used to overlook in conversations, in atmospheres, in people's intentions, in your own emotional responses. Your discernment has become sharper, quicker, deeper. You feel shifts before they happen. You sense motives before they reveal themselves. You pick up on spiritual currents that others miss. This sensitivity is not a burden. It is a sign of rising spiritual strength. Heaven is tuning your spirit to a higher frequency so you can navigate what's coming with accuracy. Sign 2. You feel both exhausted and energized at the same time. Your body may feel tired, but your spirit feels awake. Your mind may feel stretched, but something inside you feels alive. You may have days where you feel drained, yet strangely motivated, as if a deeper strength is pushing you forward, even when your physical energy is low. This paradox is a sign that the power strengthening you is not human, it is divine. Sign 3. You're becoming less tolerant of what drains you. People, environments, habits, conversations, things you once tolerated now feel heavy, misaligned, or spiritually off. You can't force yourself into spaces that shrink you anymore. Your spirit is rejecting anything that contradicts your growth. This is heaven pulling you out of misalignment and pushing you toward your next assignment. Sign 4. Moments of peace come unexpectedly. Random waves of calm, sudden clarity, brief moments where everything feels still, even if your circumstances haven't changed. This peace is not from you, it is being poured into you. It's a sign that God is strengthening your inner core, stabilizing your spirit, anchoring your emotions. Sign 5. Your inner voice has become louder than outside noise. You're noticing that your intuition speaks with more authority now. You're second-guessing yourself less. You're feeling guided, directed, pulled. Even if everything around you is uncertain, your inner knowing is becoming more confident. That confidence is not arrogance, it is alignment. Sign 6. You feel a strange pull upward, a feeling like something is lifting you from the inside, a sense of acceleration, a growing awareness that you are rising out of old patterns, old emotional cycles, old spiritual weights. This pull is the Spirit of God elevating you into the next stage of your identity. And if you're honest, some of these signs have already been stirring in your life. You've noticed the shift. You've felt the changes. You've sensed the momentum. These signs are confirmations that the rising within you is real, unmistakably, undeniably real. They are reminders that heaven is active, involved, and intentional with your life. They are markers that you are no longer standing where you used to stand. They are evidence that the spirit within you is strengthening day by day, moment by moment. And now that you've recognized the signs of rising, it's time to understand something just as important. Before every breakthrough, there are challenges. Not to destroy you, but to shape you. And in the next section, we will uncover the hidden struggles that may appear just before your rising becomes visible. But before the rising becomes visible, before the breakthrough manifests, before the strength within you fully takes shape, there are challenges that often appear first. Not because God is blocking you, and not because you're unworthy or unprepared, but because elevation always comes with resistance. And that resistance is meant to reveal the strength you didn't realize you already possess. These challenges are not punishments. They are confirmations. They are signs that the spiritual pressure around you is responding to your rising. Let's uncover them. Challenge 1. The sudden heaviness that comes out of nowhere. You may experience moments where everything feels weighty for no clear reason. You wake up tired. Your emotions feel dense. Your mind feels cloudy. This heaviness is not failure. It is spiritual contraction, just like a muscle shaking under resistance when it's growing stronger. Your spirit shakes under increased pressure right before it expands. Challenge 2. Old wounds trying to revisit you. Memories you thought were healed may resurface. Old insecurities may whisper again. Old temptations may reappear. Old emotional patterns may try to reattach themselves. This is not regression, it is exposure. As your spirit rises, the old residue rises too, not to pull you back, but to be released once and for all. You aren't being dragged into the past, you are clearing it. Challenge 3. feeling misunderstood or disconnected from people around you. You may begin noticing that conversations don't land the same. People don't relate the same. You feel more alone in rooms you used to feel comfortable in. This isn't isolation, it is separation. When God elevates your spirit, He often shifts your circle, not away from love, but toward alignment. He removes the voices that weaken your spirit, so He can surround you with voices that strengthen it. Challenge 4. A temporary silence from heaven. There are moments where God feels distant, not absent, but quiet. Not because He has left you, but because He's observing your strength in action. Just like a teacher grows silent during a test, God allows space for you to realize that you're stronger now, wiser, now more spiritually mature now. His silence isn't abandonment, it's validation. Challenge 5. The inner war between who you were and who you're becoming. You may feel torn not because you're unstable, but because transformation always involves tension. Part of you is ready to rise. Another part is still letting go of what felt familiar. This war is the sign of a spiritual metamorphosis. The old identity is shedding, the new identity is emerging, and the friction between them is the fire that forges your strength. Each challenge is a threshold. Each struggle is a doorway. Each pressure is a prophetic indicator that you are stepping into a version of yourself that is more powerful, more aligned, more spiritually fortified than ever before. God doesn't allow these challenges to break you. He allows them to shape you. They are not meant to stop your rising. They are proof that your rising has already begun. And now that you understand the hidden struggles, the next stage becomes clear. If God is rising your spirit in this season, what must you do? What actions does heaven expect? What steps align you with this strengthening? In the next section, we move into the divine instructions, the steps that will activate the rising that has already begun in you. Now that the hidden challenges have been revealed, there is something you need to understand clearly. When God begins to strengthen your spirit, He also calls you into action. Elevation is a divine gift, but alignment is a divine responsibility. What heaven releases must be matched by what you choose to walk in. You are not rising by accident, and you will not step into what's coming through passiveness. There are instructions sacred and intentional that will anchor your rising and accelerate what God is doing within you. These are not burdens. These are not demands. These are invitations into deeper alignment with your calling. They are steps that position your spirit to receive everything God has already begun pouring into you. Let's walk through them. Instruction 1. Protect your spiritual atmosphere. You cannot rise in an environment that weakens you. This is the season where you must be intentional about the voices you allow near you, the conversations you participate in, the energy you absorb, and the atmospheres you entertain. Not every room deserves your presence anymore. Not every person deserves access to your peace. If something pulls your spirit downward, it does not belong in your rising. If someone drains your clarity, they cannot accompany your elevation. If an atmosphere clouds your discernment, you must step out of it. This is not harshness, it is stewardship. Instruction 2. Strengthen your spiritual disciplines. When your spirit is rising, your habits must rise with it. Prayer must become deeper. Worship must become more intentional. Stillness must become more consistent. Scripture must become nourishment instead of duty. God is not asking for perfection, He's asking for connection. Your spirit grows strongest in the moments you choose to sit with Him, hear Him, and let Him speak into the places life has tried to silence. You may not pray perfectly, but pray. You may not feel like worshiping, but worship. You may not have long moments of silence, but take the moments you have. Consistency builds strength. Discipline builds discernment. Devotion builds momentum. Instruction 3. Release what God has already removed. Part of rising is letting go. Letting go of old wounds, old identities, old cycles, old relationships, old emotional patterns. God cannot fill hands that are still gripping the past. And many of the things He's taken from your life were never meant to follow you into your next assignment. If it pulled you backward, it cannot go forward with you. If it weakened you, it cannot strengthen you now. If it silenced your spirit, it cannot speak into this season. Letting go is not loss, it is alignment. It is clearing space for what God is sending next. Instruction 4. Obey the small nudges. During seasons of rising, God often speaks through gentle impressions, quiet prompts, sudden ideas, internal warnings, intuitive directions. These small nudges are the seeds of great shifts. What feels minor can unlock something major. Don't ignore the subtle guidance. If God nudges you to rest, rest. If He nudges you to move, move. If He nudges you to speak, speak. If He nudges you to be silent, be silent. Your rising accelerates when you respond quickly to divine whispers. Instruction 5. Prepare for what you've prayed for. This is where many people fall short. They pray for elevation, but live as if nothing is coming. Rising requires readiness. If God is strengthening you, it's because you will need that strength soon. So prepare as if the blessing is inevitable, because it is. Preparation is a declaration of belief. Preparation is an act of faith. Preparation is spiritual expectation in motion. Clean the space that will hold the blessing. Open the journal that will receive revelation. Organize your life for the opportunities that are forming. Step into discipline that reflects your new identity. When heaven sees preparation, heaven sends provision. Instruction 6. Guard your tongue. Words shape atmosphere. Words shape expectation. Words shape spiritual momentum. This is not a season for careless self-talk or casual negativity. Your spirit is too elevated, too sensitive, too activated to be weakened by your own speech. Speak what aligns with where you're going, not with what you're leaving. Declare strength even when you feel tired. Declare clarity even when you feel unsure. Declare breakthrough even before you see it. Your spirit will follow the direction of your words. Instruction 7. Walk with boldness. As God strengthens you, you cannot shrink back into old patterns of fear, doubt, or hesitation. Heaven is calling you to walk with confidence, not confidence in yourself, but confidence in what God is building inside you. Boldness is the posture of someone who knows their spirit is rising. Take the step you've been delaying. Pursue the thing you've been afraid of. Say yes where you once said maybe. Move forward even if you still feel the shaking. Boldness activates destiny. These instructions are not random. They are strategic. They are spiritual. They are prophetic. And they are the steps that will anchor your rising and usher you into the season God has prepared for you. In the next section, we go deeper into the part your heart has been waiting for, the protection that surrounds you as your spirit rises. And as your spirit rises, you must understand something deeply comforting and profoundly true. You are not rising alone. God does not strengthen you and then leave you exposed. Every ounce of elevation comes wrapped in divine protection. Every step upward is shielded by heaven's covering. There is no rise without reinforcement, no promotion without protection, no activation without angelic assignment. Even now as you listen, heaven is positioning itself around you. There are battles you will never see, because God has already intercepted them. There are attacks that were aimed at you, but never reached you, because angels stood in the way. There are words spoken against you that evaporated before they touched your spirit. There are traps that were set for you but collapsed before you ever approached them. You are strengthened because you are guarded. Let's reveal what this divine protection looks like. Assurance 1. God is placing a shield around your mind. In this season of rising, your thoughts are being fortified. Where confusion once entered easily, now clarity will stand guard. Where anxiety once slipped through cracks, now peace will settle like armor. The mental warfare that once overwhelmed you will lose its access point. This is not your doing. It is God sealing the breaches that the enemy once exploited. Assurance 2. Your spirit is being surrounded by angels of warfare and guidance. There are assignments connected to your rising. With every spiritual elevation, God dispatches angels strategically, some to fight for you, some to guide you, some to protect what you carry. You may not see them, but your spirit feels them. That sudden sense of safety, that unexpected calm, that internal knowing that you're covered, these are signs that you are not walking through this alone. Heaven walks with you. Assurance 3. God is blocking access to anything that could derail your rising. This is why certain people have distanced themselves. This is why certain situations dissolved. This is why certain opportunities closed abruptly. This is why certain cycles ended. God is not punishing you. He is protecting the rise within you. He is removing anything that would weaken your new strength or drain what He's building. He is cutting ties you didn't know were harmful and closing doors you didn't realize were traps. Divine protection often looks like divine disconnection. Assurance 4. God is stabilizing your emotions. You will begin to notice that things that once triggered you now lose their grip. Emotional turbulence begins to calm. Old insecurities lose their voice. Fear becomes quieter. Confidence becomes stronger. God is grounding you internally so that external storms can no longer shake you as easily. This emotional stability is not a personality shift. It is spiritual protection. Assurance 5. You are being hidden from harm as you rise. Not hidden in insignificance, hidden in safety, hidden in wisdom, hidden in strategic timing. Just like a seed is hidden beneath soil, not to be forgotten, but to be protected while it grows. God hides His rising ones until the strength within them is unshakable. You have been hidden on purpose. All of this protection, the shielding, the covering, the disconnecting, the stabilizing, is preparing you for what comes next. Because rising is not the final stage. Rising is the preparation. What follows is transformation and the fulfillment of everything God has been shaping inside you. And in the next section, you will see the full picture what your rising will become. Everything you have walked through, the pressure, the stretching, the isolation, the rising, the strengthening has been leading to this transformation. Not the kind that simply changes your behavior or your habits, but the kind that rewrites your identity from the inside out. The kind that shifts your posture, your confidence, your discernment, your purpose. The kind that announces to both heaven and hell that you are no longer who you were. This rising within you is not temporary. It is not emotional. It is not fleeting. It is the beginning of a permanent spiritual elevation. Your transformation begins with a deep internal awakening. You will start to see yourself differently, with clarity, with maturity, with spiritual authority. You will begin recognizing the strength God has placed within you. the wisdom you've gained from your battles, the resilience you've developed in silence. What once intimidated you will no longer shake you. What once overwhelmed you will now reveal your growth. What once drained you will now expose how spiritually fortified you've become. You will notice that your reactions shift. Where you once doubted, you will now discern. Where you once hesitated, you will now move with conviction. Where you once felt fear, you will now feel readiness. This transformation is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming who you were always meant to be. And with this transformation comes fulfillment, the visible manifestation of everything God has been preparing you to carry. The rising of your spirit is the first stage. The transformation of your identity is the second. But fulfillment is the moment heaven's intentions become visible in your life. You will begin to see opportunities open that once felt impossible. You will connect with people who align with your calling instead of draining it. You will step into environments that match your spiritual maturity. You will find yourself drawn toward purposes that resonate with your soul. Doors that felt sealed shut will suddenly unlock without resistance. Paths that were confusing will become illuminated. Things that once required force will begin to flow naturally. This is the fulfillment that comes when your spirit and your destiny finally align. But fulfillment is not just external, it is emotional and spiritual as well. You will feel peace where chaos once lived. You will feel confidence where uncertainty once dwelled. You will feel joy returning in places where heaviness used to sit. You will feel a new sense of inner stability, as if your entire being has been anchored by the presence of God. The promises you've been waiting for will begin to move. The breakthroughs you've been praying for will begin to surface. The clarity you've been seeking will begin to sharpen. The direction you've been missing will begin to unfold. Your rising has positioned you for a season of divine fulfillment, not because everything around you is perfect, but because everything within you is prepared. And this fulfillment won't just bless you, it will transform how you walk, how you speak, how you think, how you love, and how you show up in the world. People will notice the change. Environments will respond to your presence. Doors will open in recognition of your spiritual authority. Because when God strengthens a person's spirit, He does not strengthen them for no reason. He strengthens them to step into a destiny that cannot be shaken. Your transformation is the evidence that the old season is finished. Your fulfillment is the confirmation that the new season has begun. And your rising is the bridge between the two. All that remains now is the blessing, the sealing of this word over your life. And in the final section, heaven speaks directly to your heart with affirmation, clarity, and divine covering. And now, as this message comes to a close, something sacred begins to settle over you. Everything spoken, everything revealed, everything awakened within you is not meant to fade when the video ends. It is meant to live in you, to rise in you, to strengthen you long after this moment. Before you step forward, heaven wants to place words in your spirit. Words that will anchor you, stabilize you, and remind you of who you are when life tries to pull you back into who you were. These affirmations hold power. Speak them. Whisper them. Carry them. Let them become the sound of your rising. Affirmation. 1. My spirit is rising, and God is strengthening me now. Say it as truth, because it is truth. Strength is not coming, it is here. Affirmation 2. What once broke me can no longer stop me. You have outgrown the warfare that once overwhelmed you. You are stronger than the battles behind you. Affirmation 3. I am aligned with divine timing and protected in every step. Nothing can delay you. Nothing can derail you. Heaven walks with you. Affirmation 4. I am becoming who God created me to be. This season is not about survival. It is about emergence. You are stepping into the fullness of your identity. Now lift your heart for this final blessing, because heaven is sealing this word over your life, your mind, your spirit, and your destiny. May the strength of God rise within you like fire. May every place that once felt weak be filled with supernatural courage. May every burden that weighed you down be lifted with divine ease. May clarity replace confusion and peace replace heaviness. May your spirit stand tall in seasons where you once felt small. May your voice regain its authority, your heart regain its confidence, your soul regain its stability. May the protection of heaven surround you on every side. Before you step into a room, may angels already be there. Before a challenge reaches you, may God intercept it. Before doubt enters your mind, may truth silence it. May the rising within you continue uninterrupted, unstoppable, undeniable. May your destiny open. May your path clear. May your strength multiply. May your purpose ignite. You are walking into a season where you will not break, you will not fall, you will not shrink, you will rise. This word is sealed over your life. This strength is established in your spirit. This rising has already begun, and nothing can stop what God has started in you. Go forward in peace. Go forward in power. Go forward in confidence. Your spirit is rising, and heaven is with you.